Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 35 of the Bandwagon Hockey Podcast. It is Sunday afternoon, Sunday the 15th of October. We are, 4 full days into the NHL schedule? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Something like
Five
that.
full days into the NHL schedule. And we got stuff to talk about. There's a lot going on already on October 15th, as there always is every day of the NHL calendar. But first, Ryan has bad audio and a new laptop. What's up, dude?
I am doing pretty good. Hockey's back, so that's fun. And I got a new laptop, so that is fun. But what is not fun is Apple deciding to cut all of the ports basically on their new laptop. So I cannot plug my mic into my computer for the time being. So
Boy needs
a
an
little bit
adapter.
a little bit better video quality hopefully this time around. But one step forward, two steps back, I guess, at least for
We
the
love
moment.
it. That's what we like to do. That's what we like to hear. One step forward, two steps back, two steps forward, one step back, and then you're in the same place, and it's all fine.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
all right, let's get right into it. Yesterday, we're gonna go straight for the Sens because screw it. They had their home opener. They won 5-2 against Philly. There were over 20,000 people in the building, which is pretty cool to hear. I saw that there was 107% capacity. I don't really understand when capacity is over 100%. Like, that doesn't really compute in my brain. If you can fit X number of people in a building, that should just be 100% capacity. And then anything less than that is less than 100%. But I also understand that teams don't want to constantly be below 100%. So if every once in a while they're above 100%, then they'll fudge those numbers however they want.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm pretty sure capacity relates to like the amount of seats in the building. So I know the
Yeah.
Sens were selling standing room only tickets and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
But
I'm sure that gets up to it. But I get where you're coming from too, for
it
sure.
was really cool before the game. They introduced Dan Lauer. They brought Alfie out and kind of introduced him as really being like a part
Hmm.
of the franchise now. Josh Norris was on the bench with the coaches, which was both cool and shitty to see. Like, you want that guy on the ice. The "We want
Yeah,
Pinto" chants.
on on TV, it almost looked like Norris was like had a tear in his eye. It was so sad.
Oh yeah, you want to be
Yeah.
like, if you're an $8 million forward and you just missed the whole last season, like, you
Hmm.
want to be in the part of the player intros. Like, you'd have such bad FOMO of just
Yeah.
like
Oh
missing
yeah.
out on standing at that center ice circle with your team.
Hmm.
Um, but he got a huge round of applause. We got could you hear the "We want Pinto" chants on TV?
Yeah, the first time I saw it mentioned on Twitter, I hadn't heard it, but I think it started up again later in the game, like almost right near the end.
It was
And that
really, it
was
was
clear as
so.
day.
So
Yeah.
there were 2 or 3 different times throughout the game where it was people were trying to get it going, and it sounded like people were chanting "We want playoffs," and I was like, "Oh
Mhm.
my god, guys, it's October 14th! Like, freaking relax!" Like, it
Yeah.
was hype when that happened last year when they were playing Detroit in that back to back, but like October
Mhm.
14th, I'm not down to chant "We want playoffs," but they were chanting "We
Yeah.
want Pinto," and the name Pinto is surprisingly hard to make out when 1,000 people are yelling it.
Yeah.
Um, but it became more clear, and then obviously in the third period when the game was wrapping up and everyone was cheering for because Ottawa was going to win and whatever, it was "We want
Mhm.
Pinto," and it was very clear what was being chanted. It was kind of sick.
Yeah,
Um,
on the TV they panned right up to Pierre Dorian too. It was kind of
oh
electric.
yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
No, they need to get that shit figured out because this is a good team, dude. Like,
Hmm.
they got worked by Carolina, but they stayed in that game. They just shit kicked this Philly team.
Oh yeah.
At least until maybe the last 10 minutes when Philly, like, score effects, like Philly started to get a lot more shots. But the shots going into the third period, I think, were like 27-9, something
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Hmm.
they worked these Flyers team, and obviously Philly's going to be like bottom five team. I think you can confidently sort of predict them to be in the lottery or in the gunning for the number one pick type situation. But this is a good Sens team. Like, they're deep. The wingers are like actually talented right now. Obviously the weakness is down the middle, but that should
Hmm.
figure itself out in the next few weeks. You freaking hope.
Yeah.
Um,
It sounds like
San-
Norris is going to be back on Wednesday, so that would be
okay.
nice. Yeah.
Jacob Chikrin looks like the best player on this team.
Yeah.
Jake Sanderson looks just as steady as ever. Shabbat's a mess, but we'll get to that. Like, Zub's steady, Brandstrom's flying. Like, the team looks good. Forsberg looked
Hmm.
awesome Forsberg looked
Yeah,
awesome. I'm really excited to see Korpisalo tonight. See if he can bounce back after facing a million shots on Wednesday. Um,
yeah, and like he's
but
playing like I'm pretty sure the guy in net for Tampa tonight has one NHL game, maybe not
yeah,
even any.
it was something
Matt
funny.
Tompkins.
Matt
I'm pretty sure
Tompkins.
he was the Canadian goalie for the Olympics too, or something like that.
That's a bad sign.
Because
Being
NH,
in the last like 10 years, if you were in the Olympics, is not a
yeah,
good sign.
yeah, I'm pretty sure
Um,
I heard that. So I don't know. I have no clue what they're gonna see. But like you said, Corpusella had a little bit of a rougher game. Well, he started well,
I
but then
disagree
he
with
had a
that.
few. Oh, really? Okay.
I disagree with that. I think he was good in
I
Carolina, and
thought
then
his
he
first.
faced 48 shots or whatever it was.
Yeah, I thought his first half of the game was pretty good, but then I don't know. You probably want one or two of those later ones back, but you're right. It's
There were
Carolina
a couple
being
bad
Carolina.
goals
What
in
are
the
you gonna
third
do?
period. That point
Yeah,
shot from who was it? Was it Slavin? I don't know. A
yeah,
defenseman
I think
scored. I
so.
think
Yeah.
it was a bad goal. It was like
Hmm.
Corpusala. It caught him like going to his side. It was weird. I
Hmm.
forgot about that goal, but like I don't know, facing 40 some shots on opening night, like
Yeah,
that's tough. That's tough. So
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
agree.
reserve my because he fired me up. First two periods, I was like, okay, Corpusala looks awesome.
Hmm.
He's
No,
also
I remember
sneaky
even like
massive.
text. I remember you texting you too. I was like, Corpusella looks great.
He's
So
sneaky
I hope he
massive
can
too.
come out. Yeah, yeah.
He's a
Oh yeah.
big
I remember
dude.
seeing a picture of him like walking in. I was like, whoa.
So Matt Tompkins is making his NHL debut tonight.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he doesn't have any games. Nice.
He was in this. He was in Sweden last year playing for Farstad something. He had a nine
Sure.
eleven save percentage. He was good in Sweden. I guess we'll see
Hmm.
what happens. He was the 199th overall selection in the 2012 NHL entry draft by the Chicago Blackhawks. So,
Interesting. Well, that's a cool
um,
story.
yeah, he's 29. I thought he was like he's like fully a guy. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. 29 save shutout incoming. But Tampa's gonna have that shit locked down. I would be surprised if
Yeah.
Ottawa had a ton of great scoring
Well,
chances tonight, but we'll see.
both teams are on a back to back too, so it could be interesting hockey.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to like mention how weird a 1 o'clock afternoon game on a Saturday followed by a 7 p.m. game on Sunday is for
Yeah.
like I imagine it's weird for the players, but like attending to
Hmm.
those two games is like really odd.
Yeah, you would think it like if anything, the other way around, like have the Sunday afternoon game and then the Saturday night game. But
Yeah,
how does
that'd be
it feel?
crazy though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I
Like
guess yeah, there would
scheduling
be
wise,
that.
that'd be
Yeah.
kind of crazy. I don't think that's probably even allowed.
Anyways,
Um,
but yeah, like doing an afternoon game on a Saturday and then yeah, that must be so weird for the players. Like you
it's
never
yeah.
prepare for something a scenario like that. It's
Well,
odd.
because then like you're done. Your game's done by 4. You have all night, and then the next day, like you're not traveling or anything. You have the whole day.
Hmm.
And like today, like it doesn't feel like there's a game tonight. It feels um like Ottawa's on the road. Like 1 o'clock on a Saturday, followed by 7 p.m. on a Sunday, feels like it'd be like a 2 game back to back where you're home and then you fly out.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like it like scheduling wise, it feels like they should be like in Tampa tonight or something,
Yeah.
not a back to back at home. But I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know, these division games, like last year being kind of locked into Ottawa the whole year because they were chasing playoffs. Like you kind of realize how important
Hmm.
these division games are at the start of the year, and so I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see.
I've basically been standings watching since day one. Like
It's
the
absurd.
landing
Like
is going to be that tight this year. It's going
I
to be
saw
fun.
Detroit beat Tampa yesterday, and I was pissed. Like,
Hmm.
I,
You were pissed.
yeah, I don't want
Why?
Detroit to win games. I hate Detroit right now.
I guess so.
I do not
I'm
want to see
thinking,
Alexander DeBrincat score goals.
yeah, that's another
And
thing. But
like Ottawa
I'm
has Detroit's
thinking,
pick. Ottawa has Detroit's
e-
pick.
true. I
So
guess
like
that's true.
that's kind of why
Yeah.
I'm very like I want Detroit to lose over anyone right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking like long term, I'm not worried about Detroit being in that playoff picture. I am
Fair,
Tampa.
fair. Well, like
Yeah.
I guess early in the season, it's like I guess it
Like
doesn't really matter. Either team losing is fine.
from like a Sens fan perspective, I want Tampa to lose as many games as possible without Vasilevsky.
True. Yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, fair point. Ottawa plays Detroit
Mm.
next Saturday too. I'm so excited to boo DeBrincat, dude.
Oh my God, yeah, that's
I
gonna be
hope he
fun.
gets abused. Like I hope. Oh, I
Especially,
hope it's vicious.
yeah, especially now that he's gotten off to a good start. I guess we
Yeah.
should say he's got 3 goals in 2 games. So, um, yeah, I think fans are gonna give him a rough ride,
And
as
I'm
they
really
should.
hoping that he gets like he'll get a tribute video. Did you see Jonathan Quick's tribute video
Yeah,
in
that was
Columbus? Oh my
fantastic.
god, man! And they panned the camera to him, and he just gave an awkward little wave and was laughing.
Yeah, yeah.
That was freaking awesome. But like, so like DeBrincat's obviously gonna get one because everyone gets one now,
Mm.
and like I hope fans boo it. Like I want it to be like borderline. Like, why did you show that? The guy scored 12 goals for them last year on a billion shots. Like this fucking not 12 goals, but he had like a 2 shooting percentage, also an
Yeah.
exaggeration. Speaking of good starts, we look a little west of the Senators to the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are 2-0 to start the year, and one Mr. Austin Matthews has back-to-back hat tricks to start the season. And oh my god, I was so fired up. I saw his third goal. Like I was watching the Chicago Montreal game because I'm trying to take
Mhm.
in as much Connor Bedard as I can.
Yeah.
And once Montreal went up, no, once Minnesota made it 4-3, I flipped it over to the Toronto game, and then
Mm.
Toronto scored like 3 goals so fast. But one of them was Matthews' wraparound for the hat trick, and I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, I think I was like almost the exact same watching pattern because I was watching Bedard as well, and then one of my buddies who's a Leafs fan is like, "Oh, here we go, they're gonna be blowing
Yeah,
a lead to Minnesota." So I turned it
yeah.
back over, and I think like you texted me, and I was behind on some terrible stream, but um, yeah, the second that went in, I was like, "Holy shit!" I people have immediately started comparing it to when Ovechkin did the back-to-back hat tricks to open the season. I don't remember what year it was, but like I vividly remember that, and I was like, I like put it together. I was like, oh shit! Like I think Matthews might be on that same level as this guy.
Oh
Like
my god,
I think he can have that many 50-goal seasons like him.
32-year-old Alexander Ovechkin scored back-to-back hat tricks to start the 2016-17 season.
Yeah, like I vividly remember that for some reason. And the second it went in, I remember seeing it. And I was like, oh shit, are we seeing the
He
next like
he scored
the next
33
guy
goals
who
that year. Ovi
that's weird.
played a full 82 games and only scored 33 goals.
Hmm. Anyways,
That
it
was
got me thinking, like, do you think Austin Matthews could be like outside of
yes.
maybe McDavid, he could be the next guy to break like 800?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
think he's like well on his way.
Yeah. I think so
Like
too.
the guy scored 40 goals last year with a banged up wrist. You know how crazy that
Yeah.
is?
Yeah. It's
Having a
crazy.
bum wrist. He could score I think he's going to score 70 this year.
I think it's very possible. Like you mentioned, he had that thing bugging him last year and he was still able to put up 40. So I picked
Yeah,
him
it
for
was
Hart this year. I'm excited to see what he's able to do. Obviously, he's out for a revenge season, if you can call it that, off 40 goals. But
I lied. Ovi did it in 17-18, the year they won the cup.
mm, okay,
Okay, how many goals did he score that year? He scored 49 goals in 82 games that year. So yeah, I remember we scored 33 in 16-17. I was like, oh shit, like Ovi's gonna start to regress or whatever, and then he just came back and rattled off like 4 straight 50-goal seasons.
yeah,
But no, I fully like I was looking when Matthews put up his hat trick yesterday. I looked up his DB. He's already got like 304 goals or something.
yeah,
He's 20. He just turned 26. Like this is his 7th season. This is McDavid's 8th. So yeah, it's Matthews' 7th season. He's gonna get to 350 plus goals this season. He's gonna be at 500 by the time he's
that's crazy.
29.
Holy
He's
shit.
gonna be at 500 goals by the time he's 29.
Mhm.
If like probably even sooner, honestly.
That's crazy to think about.
So he's 26 this year. So with his birthday, he's a certain age for the whole year. So he's 26 this year. He's gonna score 50 of like unless he freaking breaks his leg. So he's gonna let's say put him at 350 at the end of this year. Age 27 season, he'll get to 400. Yeah, he'll be at 500 goals easily by the time he's 29. And like McDavid's gonna have 1,000 points by the time he's 28. He might have 1,000 points this year.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too. Like if he puts up 150 this year, he's got it. That's crazy.
Yeah,
But
he came in started the year at 850, and
mhm,
he's 20. He's not 27 yet. Like
mhm.
it's a joke. It's a joke. My God, hockey is in such a good place.
So fun.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Okay, hold on. We fully just like went way into Matthews. Nylander looks sick.
Yeah,
Oh my God, that's one
yeah.
other one that I really wanted to
He
mention.
he wants his contract. He
Oh
wants
my
his 10
God,
mil.
he's gonna get so much money. Um,
Mm,
and then one other thing I wanted to jump to, which kind of is a good segue. Toronto plays Chicago tomorrow night, Monday night. Chicago is
mm,
in Toronto, and I'm so excited to see Bedard and Matthews play because Bedard has the exact same release as Austin Matthews.
yeah,
Like
yeah. It's fun to watch.
motion, like literally the same, like his little like toe drag extended release that he does to get it through to defender. Like
Mhm.
Matthews does that, just he's lefty and Connor Bedard's a righty, and I'm just so excited to watch that game tomorrow.
Like I could tune in to watch Bedard and only see him get 5 shots on net a game and be entertained. Like
I'm
it's
my
not much fun to watch.
And like let's spend some time on Bedard here because I know we wanted to. Like he
Mhm.
last time we did a pod, he hadn't played a game yet, and so
Yeah.
now he's played three. And this guy is going to run the league for the next 20 years. Like he is so
Mhm.
much more marketable than anyone the league has seen. Like he's Zegris's marketability with McDavid's skill in Chicago. So it's not Edmonton or Anaheim. Like he is in the, I guess, central time zone on a original six franchise. He's got wicked personality and he's so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah. Like outside of the talent, which is something of its own. Like the quotes
Yeah.
he's already dropping in media is something
It's
we've never really seen from superstars in this
at
league. Like
18 years old.
yeah, and he's only going to get more and more comfortable and I
Yeah.
think showing more and more of his personality. So it's going to be fun to watch him grow in that sense too.
And it's super cool. Like I don't know, Mark Lazarus, he's the NHL or not the NHL, the Athletics beat reporter for or the beat writer
Mhm.
for the Blackhawks, and so he's been putting out so many stories about Bedard in the
Mhm.
first like month or two that he's been living in Chicago, and he lives in the same apartment building as Luke Richardson,
Okay.
and which is so cool because Luke Richardson's like I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame, but he was in the NHL for a long time. He played as an 18-year-old, and he's kind of like this new era of coaching, right? Where guys are
Mhm.
more related with their players. They're not just like old guy yelling at kids on the street. Like
Yeah.
he relates with the players,
He
and
yeah.
um and so Bedard was grocery shopping. There's a grocery store at the bottom of the apartment building, and Luke Richardson was at the grocery store at the same time, and he bumped into Bedard with his grocery cart, and Bedard didn't really like know it was him, and so he kind of just like it's weird, like and kind of moved off to the side, and then Richardson took his grocery cart and veered it off to the side where Bedard was and fully bumped him, and Bedard turns around like about to be like, "What the f, man?" And he just
Yeah.
apparently just burst out laughing in the middle of a grocery store because his coach was bumping him with his grocery cart.
That's so funny.
Like, can you imagine being an 18-year-old? Because as much pressure as there is on Connor Bedard, there's no pressure on this guy. He could put up 2 goals this year, and he would have an NHL job next year.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy how now obviously if he put up 2 goals, it'd be a catastrophe. But like the guy has this franchise wrapped around his finger. Like this is his team, and the coach knows it, the GM knows it, the players know it. It's just so fascinating to watch. I don't remember it being like this with McDavid.
Yeah, no, neither do I. Like even the fact that he's getting 5, 6 shots a night, like sure that's what special players do, but special players like that don't always have the green light like that from their
Yes.
coaches right away. Like the
Yeah.
fact that I'm sure Richardson has been in his years, like you get a decent, not even a decent, you see an opportunity to get that thing on the net, you do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the message.
And it's so fun. They're like fully
Hmm.
like without a question my number 2 team for watching this year. Like not even a
Yeah.
question. Um Speaking of young talent, Adam Fantilli and Logan Cooley both put up points in their first NHL games. Cooley put up 2 assists, Fantilli put up 1 assist.
Mhm.
Um I know you're really on the Fantilli train. Um I'm fully on the Cooley train. We both have those players in fantasy. I have Cooley, you have Fantilli, and Bedard for that matter.
Mhm.
Have you watched any Columbus? I know you watched like one period of their game, and then you were quickly like, "Oh shit, this is Philly and Columbus, and Fantilli already got a point. I'm not that interested."
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've watched them outside of that little period of time, but um, not even the fact that I think Fantilli is gonna be. I don't even think he's gonna be better than either of those two players you just mentioned too. I just think he's such a fun personality, and not in the sense like Connor Bedard, like we were just talking about. He just seems so damn wholesome. Like there was a story that came out from his first, I don't know if it was the first game or practice, but he was walking up to the arena and he stopped to take like a picture with a fan, and that fan paid him back by giving him a list of
Yeah,
like local restaurants and stuff like that. And
yeah,
it's on his fridge and he's been Xing them off one by one. And they
that's
put out
so
like a,
cool.
yeah, it's so cool. And they put out like a fun video for his first game where like all of his buddies and family and friends back home were just like talking huge like um obviously like great things about their family and their friends. So I just think he's a great dude. Every time like content comes out on him, he makes me smile, and I think he's going to be a hell of a player. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm
Oh,
interested in following him. Yeah.
he's gonna be so good, and
Yeah.
it's a shame because again, it's gonna be a Malkin Crosby situation where like one guy's,
Hmm.
despite not even being on the same team or the same conference, like Fantilli will forever be. It's gonna be an Eichel McDavid situation. Like
Yeah,
Fantilli's never
absolutely.
gonna get the attention that he should because the guy that went first overall, it's just is gonna end up being that much better. And
Hmm.
like that's no knock on Fantilli. I think Fantilli's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm also so excited about Logan Cooley. He looks like an absolute monster.
Yeah,
Um,
his second assist, I'm not sure if you got a chance to see either of them.
I
But
saw
his
the
second
first
assist,
one.
the second assist was kind of nasty. I'm pretty sure the first assist was just a secondary assist.
I saw the one. It was like a no look pass.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So whatever
Okay,
one that was, it was nasty.
okay. I actually don't know which one it was, so it might have been the second
Yeah.
one. I have no idea. It was ridiculous, and like I kind of fuck with Arizona.
Yeah,
Like
they're
Clayton
fun.
Keller, Logan Cooley. They got some
They're
sneaky fun players going.
like people just love to automatically put them in the bottom of the rankings, and I get it. But you look at their team, they're not even close to like the worst team on paper. Like I
No,
think they could be a bubble playoff team in that division.
yeah, the division's bad, man.
Yeah.
The division's bad, and like I straight up like I really wish they would have taken Mitchkov sixth overall.
Yeah.
You know how perfect the timing would be for this team if in like because I said this all last year too when Arizona was like balls to the walls tanking. Can you hear that in the background?
No.
Okay, there's a lot of honking going on. And like I was preaching it all year. I want Arizona to take Cooley, or not Cooley, Mitchkov, because I was
Mm.
praying that Bedard didn't go there because I didn't want Connor Bedard to be on the West Coast. I didn't want him to be
Yeah.
in Arizona, whatever. But I was like, if there's a team that I want Matvey Mitchkov to get drafted to, it's Arizona because hopefully in 3 to 4 years when he comes over from the KHL, they'll have a new rink and the timing will be perfect with whenever all of their young players are coming up, you insert this 22-year-old Russian stud into your lineup, and you've
Mm.
got this new rink in like this beautiful place in America, in Arizona, and like all of a
Mm.
sudden you've got a baller team in a baller situation, and it didn't work out that way. The guys that they took, I didn't know. I didn't really care about who they took. They was like I think they were both Russian guys, so I wasn't
Yeah.
familiar with them. Um, but I really like Arizona, man.
Hmm. They're gonna be fun.
Clayton Keller is such a cool player. Sean
Yeah.
Durzee's
They're
awesome.
yeah,
No,
Sean
they're
Jersey, he's gonna be it's gonna be fun to see how many points he puts up just manning that power play because it could be
yeah,
like a really fun power play to watch swing it around.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's exciting. Like if I'm a Coyotes fan, I'm excited. I don't know
Hmm.
if they've had a home game yet. I don't think they have. I think they've only played two.
Yeah.
But no, it's exciting. I would even consider Ryan putting a bet on them to. I
Mm.
don't know what their over under is for points on the season, but I would consider betting on it. Speaking of betting, Ryan, the NFL season is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger, if you can believe it. Bet $5, pardon me, on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this October. Part of the prompt for this ad read is for me to discuss a game. And so for that purpose, I will point you in the direction of the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New York Jets today. As everyone knows that is a football fan, Aaron Rodgers busted his Achilles tendon in the fourth play of the Jets season. And so that team cannot score points anymore with Zach Wilson at quarterback. And the Philadelphia Eagles offense has also been struggling despite being 5-0. The over-under for the game is 43 points. I'm smashing the under. I'm hitting Eagles minus 6.5 for about, I don't know, a minus 225, or no, sorry, a plus 225 payout. Meaning if you bet $100, you win 225. I threw $5 on it today. We'll see what happens. Get in the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. Responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario, bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. And exhale. Okay, where do we want to go now from here?
Do you maybe want to touch on the Taves deal?
Yes. 7 years, $7.25 million for Devon Taves. Devon Taves in Colorado. I think it's
Sure.
Devon.
I honestly have no clue.
Devon Taves, not Jonathan.
Sure.
7 times 7.25. Absolute bargain basement deal according to the models that circulate on Twitter. But I have a bit of a different opinion on this deal. Ryan, maybe you kick it off with your thoughts.
Yeah, obviously I think it's a slam dunk for Colorado. They get, I think, a bona fide like top 10 D right now under $8 million, which is incredible. Obviously for 7 years, that's a huge win for them. That dynamic duo with him and McCarr should be right up there for kind of defensive cores for the time being. So obviously it's a great deal for Colorado in my opinion, but you have some other opinions, right? Well, not from the Colorado side, right?
So it's 7 years, $7.25 million. First 2 years, he has a no move. The final 5 years, he has a 12-team modified no trade list. I love the number, $7.25 million. And I very much agree with Colorado extending the term of this contract to get that number down, because in 4, 5, 6 years, Nathan McKinnon's going to be 34, 35, 36 years old. Gabe Landeskog, who knows what's going to happen with him. Rantanen's still going to be a stud. McCarr's still going to be a stud. Like, this is still going to be a good team in 4, 5, 6 years, and the cap's going up. However, I think people are forgetting that this is a 30-year-old defenseman, or will be when the contract starts. So everyone looking at this contract and saying 7.25, what a steal. That's like 2 less than a year than what he would have gotten in free agency. Yes. And I think he probably still gets the 7 years in free agency because teams want the player in free agency. Like, I bet you if he goes to free agency, he gets 7 times 9. I don't think that's out of the question. But if you want to stay in Colorado, you take the discount because it's kind of how Colorado is based now. Obviously, besides McKinnon, and like Rantanen's going to break the bank in a couple of years, but like you got to, like, your number's going to be less than Cale Makar's, whereas if you hit free agency, it's likely going to be higher. The thing is, though, is that I think Colorado wanted to go 4 or 5 years with this player because, again, he's going to be 30 when the contract starts. But with that number, that's when you probably see his average annual salary go up closer to his market value, which is probably in the 8.5 to 9.5 range, probably even higher.
Mhm.
But by adding the 2 years, 3 years to this contract, that brings the number down. So I don't actually think it's as slam dunk as it seems because of that extra term. But in the short term, in this upcoming 4 or 5 years, it's a monster deal for Colorado.
Yeah, and like that's always an well, I shouldn't say always. Like when I first saw the deal, I would have never been able to tell you that Taves is almost 30. Like that is something I never
Yeah.
really thought of either. So that's a completely valid point as well. But I think it's just something you got to do.
Oh, for sure. Like I think Colorado in a perfect world gets him for 5 years at $9 million.
Yeah,
And so
probably.
that's $45 million. They gave him 50 over the span of 7
Yeah,
years. So you knock that AAV down and you add 2 years, it's not going to be the end of the world. His game might even
no.
age gracefully because I want to say he broke into the league late. Like I don't think he really became a full-time NHLer until he was probably 26, 27. Like in the
Yeah, that's
two
I think that's why I did not think he was as old as he is because to me it doesn't feel like he's been in the league that long.
So get this. So you know how the Islanders traded him to the Avalanche for 2 second-round picks, like
Yeah,
infamously for 2 second-round
yeah.
picks. Guess how much Devon Taves was making in his last 2 years with the Islanders.
What age was he? You know?
Um, so in 18, 19, and 19, 20, he would have been like his first year with Colorado, I think, was as a 26-year-old. So he would have been 24, 25 years old. And this is his second contract. So his original ELC
Okay.
was 2 years with the
Yeah.
Islanders, and then he re-signed on a 2-year contract.
Okay, I'm
Guess
gonna
what?
guess like 1.5.
700K.
Wow.
He was making
Yeah.
minimum deal with the Islanders for 2 years, and then they couldn't afford to pay him because Lou Lamoriello is notoriously strategically sound with his cap, and they traded his rights to the Avalanche, who then signed him to a
hmm
4-year deal, and he ended up being the second best defenseman on a championship winning team. I actually didn't know that until just now. That's actually shocking.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely an interesting career path for this guy. When was he drafted? Um, Devon Taves. So right now he's 29. He'll turn 30 on February 21st. So yeah, he'll be 30 turning 31 in the first year of his new contract. Okay, so those 2 seasons that I just mentioned were actually his first 2 years. Um,
As like a full timer.
as a full-time NHLer. So he
Yeah.
played
Okay.
48 games with the Islanders in 18-19. He played 68 games with the Islanders in 19-20. He made 700K in each of those years, and then he was traded to Colorado. He was
Okay.
drafted in the 4th round of the 2014 NHL entry draft.
Hmm. All right.
So yeah, I was kind of surprised to see this get done that early.
Yeah.
It's always surprising when you see big numbers thrown around this early in the year, because there's no because usually contract talks get sort of shut down as the season starts, right? Um,
Mm.
but it was cool to
Have
see.
like I didn't even have this written down for us to talk about, but have we even talked about the Sabres deals? Yeah.
Oh my God, Darlene signed his contract in the past week. We didn't have that written down.
No. And Power.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. Okay. When did that all happen? Darlene signed
Did we talk
like
about that? I don't think we did.
and the Jets contracts, dude.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay, we just unpacked another 20 minutes of podcast to do. Okay. Because
God,
my
this
my brother my brother texted me, so we put our pod out on Sunday. Shifley and Hellebuck both signed on
yeah.
Monday, I think Monday. And
Mhm.
my brother texted me because he listened, and he was like, listening to this podcast is so funny after the Shifley and Hellebuck contracts, and I was like, oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, I remember
So
that too because we were like so wishy-washy of where to put them in our rankings because we're like, well, we don't know what they are. But
yeah,
now we know what they are.
so Hellebuck and Shifley both signed on Monday. I want to say Darlene signed on Tuesday, and then Power signed on as the Sens first game was happening and as Bedard got his first point and as As Bedard got his first goal, and like so much stuff was happening. I
Yeah.
remember that was Wednesday evening. So Scheifele and Hellebuck both signed 7-year extensions worth $8.5 million per year. Owen Power signed in, was Power 7 or 8 years? I think it was 8. At $8.35 million a year, and Dahlin signed an 8-year deal worth $11 million a year. Where do you want to go first?
Power was 7.
It was 7? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to go Jets first or Sabres first?
Let's go Jets, because I feel like we'll be more like, there's more to dissect with that.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your thoughts? Who do you think won the deals? I was shocked.
Yeah, absolutely shocked. I did not think either of these two players would be staying in Winnipeg past this season. I'm not going to lie. And if I did, I'm not sure I expected these long of a deals either. I think these players both of them are also 30, turning 31,
Hellebuck
or
is
somewhere in that
30.
range, right?
I think Scheifele, they're both 30.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
So
Ryan,
one, I think it's a
what did you
great
say? I couldn't hear you
number.
there for a sec. Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, yep. Hello?
Can you hear me?
We're good?
Yeah.
Yes, hello. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're good.
Okay. We're good now. Oops.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Uh, I think obviously it's a great number for Hellebuck. Like that's a ridiculous steal in terms of AAV for a top goaltender in the game. But
But
just that long term for a goalie is something I'm always hesitant of. Like the long term big money goalie contracts scare the living hell out of me. Just it doesn't matter who it is, it always scares me.
it's because of Carey Price.
Yeah, and
That's
Bob
why.
and others.
Yeah,
But
Bobrovsky. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
yeah, and they're just so unpredictable. It's hard. But
Yeah.
anyways, he's proven. So I think it's a good number for him. But that 7 years for a 30-year-old goaltender, it could age very poorly. How do
The
you feel
Scheifele
about it?
contract is worse.
Yeah, and then the Scheifele one's worse.
Yeah.
I didn't
Like,
know if you wanted to go one at a time or not.
no, I was kind of like, I'm looping these one together. So here's my thoughts. I am shocked that Scheifele is remaining a Jet.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked that he's staying at that number. I don't
Yeah.
think he gets that number in free agency because everyone points to the 42 goals and forgets that there are a lot of other aspects to being an NHL center.
Yeah.
And Scheifele's not good at a lot of them. He's a very one-dimensional player. He does not play defense. And I think he would have been much better suited as a trade asset. Same with Hellebuck. I'm shocked that I was always under the impression that Hellebuck was going to leave.
Yeah. I don't know where I got this impression, but I thought like he was not a fan of playing in Canada. Like I think he had things to say during COVID. Like he was one of those guys. So I just expected him to try to find something in the States.
I really like the number though, I will say. I thought that if Connor Hellebuck was going to be a Jet for the next 7-8 years, it was going to be for double-digit $1 million a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So eight and a half, I really like for Winnipeg.
Yeah, and I wonder if their thinking was like we get both of these guys for a certain number, and we just send it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But here's the other thing, like why?
I don't know.
So that's the thing is you can like or dislike these contracts. I think the general consensus is that the Scheifele one is a lot more risky and scary. But the Hellebuck one is like like in a vacuum is like a good ass contract. Like that's a top 3 goalie year in, year out. And the issue is that like why? And so a lot of stuff I was seeing was like, okay, so the Jets have really locked themselves into this core and like they really need to go for it for the next 7 years. And I'm like, what do you mean go for it? Like go for it with what? Like they don't like this isn't a good team. They snuck into the playoffs and got their shit kicked in by the Vegas Golden Knights. Like you're telling me you're gonna try to win a Stanley Cup with Kyle Connor as your best player? You're gonna win a Stanley Cup with Mark Scheifele as your highest paid player? You're gonna win a cup with Josh Morrissey anchoring your defense. Like it's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
no.
And like who's coming? I like Cole Perfetti has been quite uninspiring. Despite I love the player, but oh my god, like he
Mm,
hasn't done anything. Um,
mm,
they've got Adam or Brad Lambert, uh, Rutger McGroarty. I think I'm missing one more, but like Chaz Lucius. Those are their big three
yeah.
prospects right now, and like those guys are coming. But like are those are gonna be like middle six guys? Like I don't know what's supposed to be coming, and I don't know what's supposed to be coming in the next 6-7 years. And I don't really get it from Winnipeg's
Yeah, you
perspective.
just like looking at
These
it.
contracts lock them into mediocrity for the next 6 years.
Yeah, I agree. And like looking back now as a Sens fan, it's interesting to look like, would you have wanted Ottawa to lock in like a Carlson, a Stone at those times?
Here's the difference though,
I
is
know I
that
know it's different, but like think about it too. This I bet you they're celebrating like crazy in Winnipeg.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So from an Ottawa perspective, obviously the Eric Carlson trade, like imagine where this freaking team would be at without
Also,
that Carlson trade.
the reason I made that connection is because you think of these two players and you think they would be the perfect spots to launch off a rebuild.
Yeah, as a trade.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
that's what I was immediately thinking of. Is like
here
you
here's
trade one of these top goalies and get a haul.
here's the difference is that this is a huge thing for like the city of Winnipeg and their fans. It's like, oh my god, we
Yeah.
kept these guys. We kept them.
Hmm.
Like guys want to be in Winnipeg. The difference is that with Ottawa, if you sign Stone and you sign Carlson, you can still bottom out and rebuild. If those two guys
Yeah.
are
Right.
down for a few lean years to draft your you don't get Tim Stützle without drafting or trading Eric Carlson. But if you're down to have those lean years where you draft your Jake Sanderson, you don't get Josh
Hmm.
Norris either. Like, oh my god, like where would this like you get your Brady
Yeah.
Tkachuk, like whatever. The difference is that in Winnipeg, like you're not bottoming out when you have Connor Hellebuyck in your net,
Yeah. That's true.
right? And
Hmm.
so that's why I'm shocked that they didn't trade at least him. Like keeping Scheifele, I don't like the contract and I don't like the player and where this team needs to be, but like that guy's not going to turn you into a mid team if you suck. Just like
Hmm.
two guys, Eric Carlson and Mark Stone, do not keep you as like a contender if you
Yeah.
surround them with garbage. If you surround Connor Hellebuck with like the most mid team, which like Winnipeg's kind of done his whole career, he can drag you to the playoffs and like win you around.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
he's done it. Like I don't
Like
know.
top goalies in the league do that, and
So
like we might see Sorokin do that again this year.
yeah, like I get the comparison, and obviously like I wish Mark Stone was the captain of the Ottawa Senators right now. It didn't work out that
Hmm.
way. The trade was a
Yeah.
disaster, but
I was more thinking of it like it would have been
it's a good comparison though.
it would have been the perfect spot for them if they wanted to take that direction, but they clearly didn't.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, no, I agree with you. Like I don't know, and watch like if Scheifele just if his game falls off a cliff offensively, and if Hellebuck runs into an injury or two, it's gonna
Hmm.
be a lean
Yeah.
rebuild in Winnipeg.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like
it's gonna be tough.
imagine this Ottawa rebuild was one of the most excruciating in recent memory. Maybe probably besides Buffalo, it's probably been the most excruciating rebuild beside in the NHL.
Hmm.
And I might be being naive or ignorant right now, but I think like Buffalo and then this current Ottawa rebuild. Buffalo's was straight up like over a decade. And
Yeah.
if that Eric Carlson trade does not happen, or if it happens the way we expect it to happen, rather than Tim Stützle, you have a guy who was drafted like 28th overall, which is what everyone thought that pick was going to be. And like Josh Norris is your top center right now. Imagine if Josh Norris was like your most valuable forward right now. The guy can't stay on the ice. And so it's kind of disastrous to think about that. And
Hmm.
like that's kind of what it looks like. Or no, you don't even have Josh Norris, actually, now that I say
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna say
Yeah.
without the trade, you don't have either.
I'm yeah, you don't have Josh Norris at all because he was in that trade. I was thinking Josh Norris becomes your number one center. You don't even have him. Holy
Hmm.
shit, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um and Yeah, I fully like
Like
my
just
logic
long,
for that was
like
terrible.
just short term, I'm sure it's fine, but long term, it's going to be a hellhole for them.
Short term, it's yeah, we'll trade our first round pick that's gonna be 18th overall so that we can sneak into the first round of the playoffs. But long term, it's gonna be wait, now we have these two potential boat anchor contracts
Mhm.
and no prospects or picks or I don't
Yeah.
know. It's probably the only market. Winnipeg and Ottawa are probably the only two markets where you can look at the situation and actually be like, okay, good for them for keeping the
Hmm.
players, but was it really the best choice?
Yeah.
But you can
Yeah.
spin it as like good for Winnipeg.
Yeah. Like business wise and community wise, it's good for them. But
Yes.
like hockey operations wise, long term, it's probably not a good call.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
However, the two other contracts that were signed within 48 hours of these two contracts, um, holy shit, Buffalo is terrifying, man. So
Yeah.
Rasmus Dahlin, 8 years, 88 million, $11 million a year, making him tied for the second highest paid defenseman in the NHL. Thank God he got that money because I'm so sick of elite defensemen getting paid $9 million. Um,
Yeah.
and so he shakes up that top of the market. You can expect other defensemen like him to sort of follow suit um, on their probably third contracts because it seems like there's a trend right now with guys on their second contracts, a la Jake Sanderson and Owen Power. Owen Power getting 7 years at 8.35. Buffalo's core is locked and loaded.
Hmm.
This team is going to win a cup with this core.
Yeah, you'd have to think so, especially with the two that they just signed. Like those two are going to be roaming that blue line and causing
Oh,
havoc
like
on the Atlantic Division and Eastern Conference for the next decade plus. It's going to be, yeah.
your top
That,
four is anchored by Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin on the left side for the next 8 or 9 years, depending on which player. And then your
mhm.
top two forwards are Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins, who make a combined $14 million.
Yeah, they're just in an unbelievable spot. And
Them in New
if,
Jersey. I need like from a neutral perspective, I need like four straight conference finals between those two teams.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah, that
sneak,
would be a ton of fun.
maybe sneak the Sens in there for one or two, but like Buffalo and New
Mhm.
Jersey are going to run this conference for the next decade.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like it's hard to, assuming like Levi pans out or
Yeah,
yeah, whatever, right? But that core will never be like a bad team. It
no,
just never will. It never will be.
it's and I watched Buffalo's first game against the
Regardless of
Rangers.
them being 0-2 right now, which is interesting.
Yeah, they've looked like shit to start the year. And I was
Mhm.
kind of gonna go with that. I was head there. They played the Rangers in their first game, and I was curious to watch because I want to see how Levi looked, like played in Carlton Place, whatever. Um, and just because like it was kind of, I think it was the only game on at that point in the day. I think it was a 4 o'clock start, and Dylan Cousins was flying. He
Yeah.
looked awesome. He looked like a number one center, and so no, Buffalo's so sad. I love the Darlene deal. Everyone kind of looked at it and
Hmm.
was like, "What? Like, why is he getting that much money? Why is he getting more than Makar?"
Well,
People need to take the Makar comparable out of their minds.
I've also seen people be like, well, look at what Sanderson and whatever
Yeah,
just took. Like you can't do that. They obviously just bought up UFA years. It's a whole contract
yeah,
further in the thing in the in his career. Like you can't be doing that. It's what a top five defenseman should be getting paid now, and he's easily that.
yeah, yeah. And like the power contract is what should be being compared to Jake Sanderson.
Yes, 100%.
Like
Those two
those
are like
those are the
almost
two most
identical,
comparable players
and
in
they're
the
going to be
NHL.
great.
Those are the
Yeah,
two
and
most
they're both slam dunks.
yeah, and like people just need to learn how to compare contracts. Um,
Hmm.
like what was the contract that on the SDP? Someone it was like completely unrelated. Oh, they were talking about Elias Pettersson's next deal, and it was like, oh, if Jake Sanderson got 8.05, what's Elias Pettersson gonna get? And I was just like,
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, what? Who are we talking about?
What are we
Um,
doing here?
oh my god. Okay, we're at 50 minutes. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Elias Pettersson, but we can maybe wait and save that for the next pod, which will probably be, I think we're going to do Thursdays now. I think Wednesdays are tough. So probably Thursday we can talk about some more contract stuff, but we'll probably forget because there'll be other stuff that happens because something happens every day in this wacky league.
Yep. Did you want to touch on Edmonton quickly before we wrap up or no?
Oh, they look so bad.
Yeah.
Or like their team looks awesome. Their goaltending looks so bad, but it's only been 2 games.
Yeah.
Vancouver looks good though.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched.
I obviously I expected Vancouver to be a little bit better, but I don't know, man. They don't have a bad team per se. So
I watched like probably half of each game. So I probably watched like one full game combined between like the Edmonton and Vancouver.
Yeah, me too.
The Edmonton and Vancouver back to back. What a weird way to start the year, by the way.
Yeah.
But oh my God, Elias Pettersson is going to. I honestly think that you can make a case that he should become the highest paid player in the NHL. If he hits free agency.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if he hits free agency, he might
13.5.
Get close to it.
13.5. Yeah. Like, I would, if you're Vancouver, like, are you not giving him that? Like, who's your Pettersson replacement?
Who else are you giving that money to?
Like, you're going to give it to Niels Hoglander? Or, like, I don't know. He's got 6 points in the first 2 games. Like, he's disgusting. Yeah. It's insane. I would love to see Vancouver make the playoffs this year.
I think it was it might have been their first goal of the game, where that sauce he laid right in for one of the most disgusting assists I've ever seen.
And like he's in this conversation. He's definitely a top 10 center. I think top 5 center at the end of the year. Everyone still puts Crosby in that conversation. Patterson's gonna leap past Crosby. Like it's gonna be McDavid, Matthews, Draisaitl, McKinnon, and Pettersson. Like that's gonna be kind of the clear cut top 5 at the end of the year, I think. Yeah, it's gonna be sick. I'm so excited to see that contract narrative because that's gonna be. I'm trying to think of anything else as big. Like, what's the biggest RFA to come up in the last however many years? Like, if Pettersson doesn't sign in the next, like prior to next July 1st, has there been a bigger RFA to like be unsigned in recent memory? I'm thinking Sebastian Aho when he got offer sheeted. Like, that's not even close.
Yeah, that's probably it.
So
yeah, I can't think of nothing off the top of my head at least.
Marner, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Columbus offer sheeted him and he said no. Like if Pettersson hits restricted free agency, it's going to be a zoo. And quite frankly, I kind of hope it happens just for him.
Well, Matthew Tkachuk, right?
Oh, true. But that was he ever really an RFA though?
He wasn't at the time though. Or I mean, not big.
He never hit restricted free agency. He was traded to Florida and like he signed in Calgary and was traded to Florida before free agency started.
Oh yeah, I was even talking about beforehand in Calgary where he
okay. I'm more meaning like if Pettersson actually hits restricted free agency, which he very well may.
Okay, yeah.
Because Tkachuk didn't. Like he was like he got signed and traded kind of thing before he was able to be offer sheeted.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Can you imagine if Vancouver has to like trade Pettersson's rights kind of thing? That'd be insane.
That'd be stupid.
Oh my God. Like if he has like a Dubois or Tkachuk situation where he's just like, I'm not going to sign. You have to trade me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's going to be an exciting thing to watch. I hope it doesn't happen for Vancouver's sake. I want good players in Canada, but all right, let's hit the outro. Let's wrap it up. We ended up doing an hour. All righty. That's it. Sunday, October 15th. Hockey's underway.
Hockey is back.
Pettersson to the Kraken. Make it happen.
Pettersson to the Habs?
To the Habs?